Hello there, my name is Havoc and welcome to my tutorial for Total War Saga Troy. This playlist of guides is designed for brand new Total War players to help understand the concepts and mechanics behind the game. Total War is a combination of turn-based strategy empire building on a gorgeous campaign map combined with real-time strategy battles where you are in command of blocks of troops using battle tactics to defeat the opposing army. Navigating your way through the economic, divine, diplomatic, and military portions of the campaign, you will either conquer the Aegean or safeguard Troy. To begin this series, I will run you through some basic guidelines to start your campaign, from selecting a faction, first steps on the campaign map, and some easy breakdown tips to start off on the right foot. This will be an extensive video, so sit back and relax as I walk you through Total War Saga Troy. One quick thing, if you've stumbled on this video post day one release and have yet to buy it, head down to the link in the description to buy it using my Epic Game Store content creator link, as it's one simple way to help support the channel. And if you want to stay up to date with this guide series, I highly recommend subscribing to the channel and turning the notification bell on. That's all, let's dive in. Hero selection. Before you ever step foot in a campaign, you will need to first select your hero. On the release of Total War Saga Troy, you have 8 to choose from: Achilles, Agamemnon, Odysseus, and Menelaus on the Danaan or Greek side, and Hector, Paris, Aeneas, and Sarpedon on the Trojan side. Clicking on any hero will bring up a lot of information, so let's break it down using Agamemnon. Starting on your left is the hero's campaign difficulty. This can range from easy, moderate, or hard. This is more a measure of the mechanics and your required understanding of the game rather than an actual game difficulty. Agamemnon is marked as easy because his starting position is somewhat central to the map and his mechanics allow him to take advantage of the factions around him by including them in court and vassalizing them. Odysseus' difficult, however, is hard because his 2 unique mechanics of Safe Haven and Coastal Master are a bit more complex and requires you to know some agent information, and his unit roster caters to a more advanced style of gameplay strategy. In addition to the difficulty, you'll find the victory conditions. There are 2 sets of victory conditions, Total War and Homeric. Total War victory focuses on conquering a large number of settlements across the entire map, while usually defeating a specific faction or factions in the game. The antagonist faction mentioned in this victory condition is a faction that is automatically chosen for you, and at a chosen point of the game will become increasingly aggressive towards you until you defeat them. Homeric victory caters more towards the story of the Trojan War as a whole rather than pure conquest. There are 12 epic missions scattered through your campaign that will progress your hero story forward towards their ultimate goal. Your Homeric victory also includes confederating or destroying certain factions, as well as holding key settlements related to said story. The best part is, you don't have to select one or the other. Both can be played at the same time to your own preference. Moving back to the hero selection screen and on to the middle we go, where you can see where they start amid the campaign map and all of the other heroes in the game. This gives you a better perspective of your hero's start position relative to your Homeric or Total War victory condition targets. Also, each portion of the map plays differently, with different resources and higher densities in specific regions. Below that is your campaign and battle difficulty settings. As you adjust both, you'll get a quick overview on what said difficulty means. Easier difficulties give advantages to the player. Harder ones give advantages to the AI. If you've played strategy games before, a normal setting would probably work best. For those completely new to strategy in general, there's absolutely nothing wrong with taking it easy to learn the ropes. For the real challenge, however, you can scale your difficulty up to hard and very hard. This will give you penalties against public order, recruitment, etc. But for the real Total War masterminds, you can access Legendary, which turns off the ability to save and is the true Iron Man test of your skills, with massive bonuses to the AI as well as penalties to the player. Moving on to the right side of the faction selector screen is useful information to deciding which campaign you want to start with. The faction tab shows you the 2 unique faction mechanics of the chosen hero. For instance, Agamemnon's 2 unique unit faction traits are King of Men, which allows him to appoint heroes to a court system, and the Lion's Share, allowing him to vassalize other factions, giving him the ability to request resources from the newly created vassals, the only one able to do so in Total War Saga Troy. Your Army tab breaks down the military side of your faction, giving you a broad overview of the playstyle based on the units available to them. Your heroes are the generals that will lead your armies. There are 4 types of heroes in this game: Archer, Defender, Fighter, and Warlord, each with 2 or 3 variations depending on the selection. But an overview of each hero is given when you hover over the hero icons. Each faction has one hero type that they cannot recruit, so if you like a particular type of hero, that will have an effect on who you choose. Agamemnon, for instance, cannot recruit fighter heroes in Troy. Below your recruitable hero types are the unique faction units that only your faction can recruit, which will always play to your recommended playstyle. Hovering over these units will give some details about their unit class and the benefits that they bring to the battlefield. Typically, 1 or more of these units will be in your starting army, with the rest being more mid to late game units available to the faction. The last selection on your right is a story breakdown of whatever faction you choose. This gives just a bit of backdrop for general reading purposes that also sets up a couple of traits given to your specific faction, which usually caters to the unique traits mentioned earlier in the video. Sticking with Agamemnon, let's seize Troy, and I will see you on the campaign map. User interface. There's a lot of things to look at when on the campaign map, and I'll give you a decent rundown of what you can do. First, let's take a look at the overall UI, or user interface, when nothing is selected. The campaign map UI is broken up into the top left and bottom right corners of the map. Your top left has more detailed and faction-specific information. Selecting the hero icon will center your hero and his army on the campaign map. The icon below him shows off your faction summary, where you can see current stats like the number of settlements you own, faction effects, and diplomacy. Records gives a breakdown history of what has happened so far in your campaign, with a nice little turn-by-turn video showing your expansion. Statistics will show you a cumulative overview of about every single thing that has gone on in your campaign. These aren't incredibly useful now at the start, but can be referenced at any time to see how things have been going. To the left of your hero icon will show a drop-down menu of every faction effect that is current. Some are permanent, others will only be in effect for a handful of turns, such as when your prayers to a god are answered. This can give you an efficient and quick overview of everything affecting your empire. To the right of your hero is the resource bar. We'll dig into resources in just a bit, but note that you will constantly be referencing this menu, and you'll need to keep an eye on all the numbers displayed. Below your resource bar is your faction bar. Your victory conditions are the first in that bar, which obviously lays out what you'll need to accomplish to officially win a campaign. Royal decrees are a sort of tech tree, allowing you to bring permanent benefits to your faction in various ways. Only 1 royal decree can be researched at a time, so choose wisely. Benefits range from increased resource generation to campaign or battle advantages. Some royal decrees will cost you resources to enact, but that shouldn't happen until much later in your campaign. The diplomacy tab is where you can engage other factions. To start an interaction, click on the faction and then scroll to the left. This will bring up the haggle page. Each proposal, whether you form some sort of treaty or a trade agreement, will create a haggle opinion with a designated number. The person you are engaging with will never accept a deal if that haggle opinion is red. You will need to do something to sweeten the deal a bit and get into the green for acceptance. There's a lot more to it than just that quick breakdown, but that will be reserved for its own video. The gods are the next tab over, and they are very important to your campaign. With 3 tiers of devotion and 7 different gods, you will need to hover over each god to find the benefits that best suit your gameplay style. You will have to generate favor to the god of your choice in order to tier up and receive those benefits. Building dedicated temples or using the Hecatomb sacrifice button will work towards increasing the favor needed. Be aware that favor decreases by 10 every turn for all gods, so you will need to consistently keep up with your favorite gods throughout the entire campaign. The last 2 tabs are always going to be your faction unique ones. These will of course be different for every faction, so I leave it up to you to explore those tabs and find the information you're looking for. It is laid out pretty efficiently for easy understanding. The bottom right UI contains information lists, which I will say is very useful for quick referencing or to find specific information during your campaign. To the left is your events list. displaying everything that has either happened in this current turn or during the AI's last turn. Knowing the activities that go on during the AI turns might give you a leg up against some of the other heroes, so it's worth keeping an eye on. Next up is your heroes and armies list, showing you all of the armies you currently have employed, including the name of the hero leading it, the number of troops in that army, and how many action points they have. Action points will be addressed with the military portion. In the middle, we have our provinces list, showing off what provinces you have settlements in, their happiness levels, and then a selection menu of how much of each resource they are producing. You can also see any other provinces that you are aware of, but in regards to seeing resources, you can only see the ones within your line of sight. Each of these sublists can be sorted in various ways, and it's a good method to keep track of how your own provinces are doing, and to potentially map out your future conquest of other settlements based on how much they are generating. Going around the circle, your next icon is the known faction list, and it will give you a great diplomacy breakdown of all the factions known to you, your diplomatic relationship with them, if there is one, and finally their overall opinion of you. The more green the opinion helmet is, the happier they are with you, and the more willing they are to initiate in diplomacy. The more red, clearly the less happy, and they typically just won't work with you at all. Last of the top icons is your missions list. These missions are rarely required to complete if you want to go true sandbox, but they do give us some direction for our campaign. Missions are broken up into epic and regular missions, needed to be completed to further your Homeric victory condition as we discussed earlier. Right now, all we need to do is defeat our enemy, and on completion we'll get some resources, but we'll get to that once you're done with your first turn. You'll notice under those main icons, you'll see two very small icons. To the left is the notification settings. I emphasize settings because your actual notifications are at the bottom of the circle. This list of settings shows off what you will get notifications of every turn. Unlike its two predecessors, Warhammer and Three Kingdoms, however, these notifications do not act as a pop-up, usually requiring you to acknowledge them and complete some sort of action before ending your turn. So, it's up to you as the player to remember that they are down there. The other side of the circle allows you to center the map in the right direction. Considering that you can rotate the campaign map in any direction, I've gotten mixed up myself and turned around, so it's a handy little button to have. And lastly, the big ol' end turn button. This is the button you'll press at the end of this video, launching you into your campaign like a true hero of Total War. Now that we are out of the campaign user interface, we had a mission to defeat an army close to us. But before we get into that, let's get a better understanding of your armies, beginning with heroes. Every army is led by a hero, in this case Agamemnon himself. As a hero, he is able to use special abilities unlocked through leveling up with experience. Each level up unlocks different buffs to parts of his army or campaign capability, which you get to choose from using skill points. Heroes can also equip special armor, weapons, and followers or items that they receive through missions or by defeating other heroes in battle. These unique pieces of equipment come with their own benefits separate from skills. Be mindful when you equip any of these, as you can pair equipment with a hero that doesn't benefit based on their playstyle, which would potentially make it useless and ultimately a waste. During your campaign, your heroes will gain traits that coincide with their actions, both on the campaign map and in battle. Agamemnon starts with the bold trait from winning multiple offensive battles. Most traits have certain levels of effect. Agamemnon has had quite the streak of winning offensive battles, therefore he is at a level 3 of the bold trait line, making him dauntless and boosting his RSIs and morale higher than when he first received the trait. Traits can be positive or negative based on these types of actions, which is something to be aware of. If at any time you want to take a look at everything affecting a hero, clicking on the character details shield under the hero's portrait will bring you to the details tab, giving you the battle stats of the hero, the battle effects he has during a battle, and the campaign effects. It's important to keep an eye on all of these stats with your hero. Some heroes can be crafted to make great administrators, spreading influence and public order while buffing resource generation in the province they're in. You can also craft your hero skills to make them great for defending the homeland or for spearheading military campaigns. As the player, it could be up to you how you shape your heroes and their character. Moving on to armies themselves. In true Total War fashion, you will have a standing army containing a handful of units that you can recruit and that cater to your faction's playstyle. Your army is the backbone of your empire expansion. Each army can hold up to 20 different units and a single embedded agent before it is full. The number of units in your army is designated by a counter above your units and a counter on top of the heroes on the campaign map. This goes for every army on the map, so a quick glance at the enemy army shows that he only has 6 units in his. With your army selected, you will notice 2 yellow circles. Well, sort of circles-ish. These 2 circles are your army's single turn movement range. Your movement range is shown by the yellow bar to the left of your hero. Right click and drag across the map and you'll see that bar go down the further away you move the mouse. Once the line turns red, that's the furthest point you can go in one turn. If you move way down south, you'll see it turn another color after red, meaning that distance is 2 turns away. Each color change is another turn, giving you a good indicator on how long it will take your army to get to that point on the campaign map. The second less visible circle is a great segue into army stances. Our first circle was in normal stance. There are no modifiers in this one. March is what unlocks that second less visible circle. The March stance adds 50% to your movement range, but there are some pretty high risks in doing so. When in March stance, recruitment and battle initiation are disabled. On top of not being able to start battles, all of your units will have reduced stamina, starting the battle in the tired tier. Lastly, and this is the biggest risk, is that should you be attacked, you cannot retreat, and if you lose the entire army. March stance is a stance I would not recommend using often, especially as a brand new Total War player, unless you are moving across the campaign map to get into a settlement in a single turn. The next step is ambush, which requires you to have 25% of your movement points left to use. Ambush stance allows you to become hidden on the campaign map from any enemies. When an enemy gets too close to your hidden army, there is a chance that an ambush will succeed, at which point you will fight a unique ambush battle on the battle map. If you hover over the mouse over any terrain on the map, you'll notice at the bottom it gives you an ambush success chance. Different terrain will have a different amount of ambush success chance. For instance, where Agamemnon is right now will have a 45% chance of success, but move closer to the light forest and it bumps up to 70%. There are hero skills and other events that can boost or limit the success chance of a character, so keep that in mind. While in ambush stance, your only limitation is that you cannot move. The raiding stance is designed to piss off whatever faction that you are raiding in. You can only use this stance if you have 50% or more movement range left, so you can't move far in between turns if you want to raid. If we move our army just south to Argos, we can raid the region and get a breakdown of what is happening. As we can see, I'm taking a decent handful of wood from Argos, reducing happiness and growth from the entire province, and it's allowing me to be immune to any attrition or effects that would kill a portion of my army every turn. However, raiding is causing some diplomatic penalties with Argos. I lose movement points if I try to move next turn, and if I were to get into any battles, all of my units start winded. I use the raiding stance to take advantage of an AI when I want to go to war with them, but I don't want to initiate the war. It's pretty effective in that manner and can be a great way to siphon some resources from your enemy. Our last stance is encamp. Encamping takes 50% of your movement range to enact, just like raiding. This stance has the most benefits in my opinion, as it enables your troops to replenish every turn, even when in enemy territory. You are immune to attrition and receive a small boost to melee defense and morale when attacked. Moving to Mycena, we can finally take a good look at the army itself. We currently have 7 units, our hero, and 6 units from our faction roster. If you hover over any of the units, a unit card pops up on the left side of the screen, giving you a whole list of stats and information. You'll see an icon under their name that coincides with an icon on the bottom of the army card at the bottom of your screen. This denotes what weight class and weapon class the unit is. A circle means lightweight class, diamond is medium, and a hexagon denotes a heavy unit, which we currently do not have. Inside that icon is the weapons they use, be it sword, club, spear, javelin, etc, etc. This weapon and shape icon combo gives you an easy and quick idea on what type of units you have in your army, but also when you can see an enemy's army what type of units they have as well. Back to the unit card. The top section gives us the unit class and type, but also some notable traits about that unit, good or bad. This unit of militia has a lightweight class, poor attack, is shielded but is also expendable, meaning that if he routs or runs away, the units around him won't freak out about it. The next bar is the upkeep of that unit. We will get deeper into this shortly, but for now we see this militia unit uses 80 food per turn. To the right of that is their XP level. This unit has 0 experience so far and will need 700 of it to level up in rank. Moving down, we have 2 numbers next to each other. The left is your current number of troops in the unit, the right number is the maximum allowed. For units that are not at full capacity, being in friendly territory or in encamp stance will replenish those numbers at different rates. The green bar next to your unit is the overall hit points or health of that unit. At 12,600, that means each individual unit in this militia has 70 hit points each. As each unit loses health and or dies, that bar will get more and more depleted. Underneath those 2 stats are your unit battle stats. Every unit will have these stats in one form or another, so let's quickly go over them. Armor is how resistant a unit is to missiles and melee attack. Morale is how likely a unit is not going to rout. High morale means less likely, low morale means more likely to rout. Speed is how fast a unit can move across the battlefield. This is very much affected by terrain. Melee attack is the chance of a successful hit on the enemy while engaged in melee combat. Melee defense is how likely they are to get hit while engaged in melee. Damage is how much damage is caused by the weapon once they do get a hit. Hover over damage and you'll get a breakdown of the weapon damage and armor piercing damage over 10 seconds, as well as how often the unit attacks. Charge bonus increases the unit's melee attack when charging into another unit. If you aren't confused by that, there will be icons at the bottom of the unit card that will show battle modifiers for each unit, such as the ability to hide in trees or the aforementioned expendable trait. There are a ton of different modifiers depending on a range of factors, so hovering over each modifier will give you a good idea on what they do. Back over to your army tab to finally recruit some units. I don't like to fight my first battle with just the units they give me. I recruit and wait a turn. Right before we do, that unit upkeep I mentioned on the unit card, above your hero, you will see the upkeep cost for the entire army. This army soaks up 910 food and 40 bronze per turn, and we are about to add to that. Let's recruit a couple of units by clicking on your army and selecting the local recruitment button at the bottom of your screen. Your recruitment options will pop up, showing you what units you can currently recruit in the province you are currently in. You can only recruit units in a region that you own, and your selection is based on what military buildings are currently built in that province. I usually go for 3 to 4 units if I can, but for this beginner's tutorial, I'm only gonna recruit 2. Now, if you look at each recruitable unit, you will see 2 resource numbers. The bottom number is the cost to recruit that unit. The number on the top is the upkeep cost per turn. It is extremely important to consider, as you might have enough resources to recruit a bunch of units in one turn, but after they are recruited, your upkeep may be more than what you are making. Armies can get very expensive, and they will always be your biggest drain on food in the game. Clicking on these units will fill up the bar on the top right of the recruitment panel. Once full, that will be all of the units that you can recruit this turn in that province. If you find a unit that fades out while you're recruiting, you've run out of food, one of the 5 resources in Total War Saga Troy, and necessary for recruiting soldiers. Don't worry, you'll get more next turn. Do note that if you are recruiting any units whatsoever, that army cannot move until the units are recruited. Province management, resources and settlements. It's not enough to just command and conquer using your armies. There is a hefty amount of empiring that's necessary to do. Now that we are recruiting some more soldiers, it is a good time to take a quick look at province management, starting with resources. There are 5 resources to the game. Food, primarily used for recruitment, wood and stone, used mostly for constructing buildings, bronze, used for later game units, and gold, the most precious resource and used primarily in trading. The top number in each slot shows your current amount of resources in this turn. The bottom number is what you will generate after you end your turn. Resources in Troy's stockpile, so you will never fear losing resources from any sort of top tier cap. You can generate more resources by conquering minor settlements that produce resources or through trade. With resources in mind, we look to your settlements and provinces to see how they're used and how they're generated. Provinces are a collection of settlements, with one major settlement and the rest being minor settlements. Most provinces contain 2 to 4 settlements. If we look at the province of Mycenica, we see all of them that belong to the province. Were we to own all of these settlements, we would be able to unlock an edict, which is a permanent benefit to the entire province, ranging from extra recruitment to growth or cultural influence. Major settlements in each province do not generate a specific resource, but they do have 8 building slots to build in, as well as a completely different set of building chains. All minor settlements have 4 building slots and will generate a specific resource noted by the resource icon next to the settlement name on the campaign map or by the top left building in the minor settlement building slot. Corinth, for example, generates food. Stymphalos generates wood. Since Agamemnon only owns 1 major settlement, let's focus on Mycena for a minute. It already has several buildings built. It can build 2 more, noted by the glowing build icons. Hovering over that icon will bring up 4 categories of buildings that you can build, or you can click down on the hammer to access your building browser. Buildings that are lit up are buildable based on the current amount of resources you have this turn. Most major settlements are broken up into 5 building chains: main building, special, military, administration, and temple. Each building chain caters to different aspects of your empire development, but you obviously will not be able to build every single building. I won't get into buildings in detail with this video, so pause, take some time to look over what each building does to see what you would like to build first. To the left are the province details. If you do not own the entire province, you will only see stats for the settlements that you do own. First is the production section. This gives you a simple breakdown of what your province is generating in resources per turn, quick and simple. Below production is administration, and this is the more crucial part to understanding for empire management. Your population surplus is a number generated by the growth factor underneath it. Your growth per turn is the number in parentheses. For this instance, once growth reaches over 135, the province has a population surplus. These surpluses are needed to build certain buildings, especially the main building chain. To see how much population surplus you need, hover over a main building in the building browser, and the number is in a box above the building icon. Happiness is obviously how happy the province is as a whole, ranging from 100 to -100. Hovering over happiness and we see the factors contributing to it. Buildings, taxes, difficulty level, army stationed in a city, events, they can all affect happiness. You can also halt resource production by clicking on the box next to the production tab. This will increase happiness but decrease the resources from your overall income. When a province reaches -100, a rebellion will occur and a rebel army will build outside of one of your settlements, growing with each turn if it's not defeated. Eventually, it will attack a settlement to make it its own. It's best not to let that happen though. Depending on how happy or upset your population is, you can receive bonuses or penalties to the production of resources. Hovering over the very bottom icon in your province card will show you the current opinion of the populace and, if any, bonuses or penalties currently being applied. Last for our province overview is influence. Influence equals culture and denotes, obviously, the dominant culture in a province. Hovering over it brings up the breakdown of your influence over the province, the factors contributing to it, and how quickly you are changing it to your culture. Influence is very important, as having 60% or higher influence will allow your minor settlements to generate a lot more of their resources due to a high influence factor. Agents and heroes. There was no real smooth place to slap these guys in, so here they are right at the end. Your heroes and agents are a key element to your campaign. Heroes are necessary to lead armies, and agents are single entities that cannot be attacked by armies and have specific roles across the campaign map. Taking a look at recruiting a hero, we need to click on a settlement and down to recruit hero. There are several hero types, as we briefly touched on in the main hero selection part of the video. The 4 main types have subtypes to each of them, and that means each subtype has special abilities and potential. When we look at our selection, you'll notice a bronze mask with a ring underneath with a range of numbers. The rings and numbers denote the motivation chance of the hero when you recruit him. Motivations are things that drive the hero. A hero with high motivation will perform much better than ones that don't. If we hover over the mask, you will see the types of actions that increase or decrease their motivation. These are directly tied to the subtype of hero they are. This is also one way to shape what hero you want leading your armies. You need a defender? Pick one that likes to end their turn in a city. Need an attacker against Troy? Choose one that likes sitting around in places with a hostile influence. Motivation is also something to keep a very keen eye on. You don't want to force a hero to do the things they don't like, or he'll just never perform well. Agents are a different thing altogether. Common agents are broken up into spies, envoys, and priestesses. Each agent has a range of actions that they can use towards settlements and armies, both enemy and ally. Agents can also be embedded into your army for various benefits, although they will not be able to fight in battle like they do in Warhammer. You can recruit agents only by building certain buildings in your main settlements. Head over to the administration and temple building chains to see what you need to recruit them. There is, however, another form of agent, epic agents. These agents require you to have the highest cult level with certain gods related to them. These epic agents bring the truth behind the myth ideology of Troy and will only remain in your service for a limited number of turns. They are allowed only a single agent action, but that action is guaranteed to succeed, so there's a bit of a trade-off. Let's say now you've looked over everything there is to look over. Buildings are building, your army is recruiting, and there's really nothing left to do. Click enter or hit the button on the bottom down below and you will officially end your turn, allowing all of the other factions in the game to go through their processes and wrap up my getting started guide for Total War Saga Troy. In your next turns, you will need to fight your first battle, seek out your enemies to crush them, find allies to gather support, then work on building up your empire through diplomacy or conquest. It is 100% up to you as to how you play your campaign. And if at any time you are lost and looking for information, hit your F1 key to toggle the information overlay of whatever screen elements are currently up. It's immensely helpful, so please take advantage of it. As a brand new player, I'm sure you're overwhelmed. Don't hesitate to start over or even save scum until you get something right. I do have plans to dig more deeply into various concepts of the game, so be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on full notifications so you're notified when a new video arrives. Let me know your thoughts on this rather lengthy tutorial in the comments section down below. And for those who are completely new to the franchise, welcome, and I hope you enjoy the game. Thanks for watching everyone, this is Havoc, and I'll see you all in the next guide.